Have you ever had the feeling that something was wrong, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it? Imagine discovering that the person you trust the most is betraying you in the most painful way possible. Have you ever found yourself wondering if everyone around you is as trustworthy as they seem? In this video, I'll tell you how I found myself in a situation I never imagined. My best friend was with the woman I love. It may seem counterintuitive, but sometimes those closest to us are the ones who hurt us the most. What would you do if you found out that the two most important people in your life were stabbing you in the back? I'll show you how I decided to act in this extreme situation in a way that will surprise you and perhaps open your eyes to what's happening around you. Are you ready to discover what no one tells you about friendship and love?
When Oliver discovers that his friend Matteo and his girlfriend Mia are romantically involved, a storm of emotions explodes within him. Betrayal, that word that seems small but carries immense weight, transforms his world. Anger consumes him, and his first reaction is to direct that fury at both of them. After all, how could they do this to him? This confusion of feelings makes everything even more complicated. He finds himself in a sea of questions, trying to understand what really happened. The pain of betrayal is a punch to the gut, and Oliver feels the disloyalty like a deep cut. He wonders about the moments he shared with Matteo and Mia, reevaluating every laugh, every secret, and every promise. The feeling of being deceived makes him want to distance himself from both, but at the same time, he still remembers the good times they shared together. It's an internal battle where love and friendship seem to be on opposite sides of an emotional war. The confusion only grows as he tries to categorize his feelings. Betrayal is not just a matter of disloyalty, it's also a matter of trust. How can Oliver trust someone who has caused him so much pain again? Anger often turns into sadness, and he finds himself alone, struggling with these overwhelming feelings that isolate him even more. What once seemed like a secure relationship now turns into a labyrinth of uncertainties. As reality sets in, Oliver realizes that this betrayal is not just about him, but also about the expectations he had regarding his friendships. He begins to question, were they really friends or just acquaintances in disguise? This reflection leads him to a crucial point. He needs to find a way to move forward. But how can he do that without understanding the complexities of what just happened? Deep down, Oliver knows he needs to face these emotions. The first step is to acknowledge the pain he feels and allow himself to experience it, even if it means crying or temporarily distancing himself from everything and everyone. He understands that, regardless of what happens, this experience will shape his view of love and friendship in a way he never imagined. The betrayal by Matteo and Mia forces Oliver to look at his relationships in a new light. He begins to question the solidity of the friendships he has built over the years. Did he really know Matteo and Mia? This uncertainty becomes a weight he can't ignore. Every shared laugh, every exchanged confidence now seems loaded with a bitter distrust. What once seemed like a genuine connection now turns into a confusing puzzle. This moment of reevaluation is crucial. Oliver finds himself revisiting memories, trying to find signs that could have indicated the betrayal. He wonders if he ever noticed that something was wrong. This introspection leads him to a turning point. He needs to decide whether to continue investing in his friendships or if it's time to close the door on certain people in his life. The doubt consumes him, but at the same time, it offers an opportunity for personal growth. Trust, once broken, is difficult to restore. Oliver begins to wonder if trust is a currency he can spend freely. He realizes that often, we place our faith in people without truly questioning their intentions. This new perspective makes him understand that, although the pain of betrayal is deep, it is also a lesson about the limits of what he is willing to accept in his future relationships. As he reflects on what it means to be a friend, Oliver realizes that some relationships may not be worth the emotional investment he had made. The betrayal drives him to be more selective and to value sincerity in the connections he seeks. He begins to understand that, despite the pain, this experience can lead him to build more authentic and healthy friendships in the future. Over time, Oliver realizes that to move forward, he needs to leave some relationships behind. This doesn't mean that he won't care about Matteo and Mia anymore, but that he is ready to redefine his emotional space. This reevaluation is painful, but necessary for him to grow and find relationships that are truly meaningful and aligned with his personal values. When it comes to complicated situations like the one Oliver is facing, communication becomes an essential tool. Upon discovering that Matteo and Mia are together, the first reaction may be anger and confusion, but ignoring these feelings is not the solution. Confronting the two may seem intimidating, but it is crucial to clear up misunderstandings. Oliver knows that if he doesn't address the situation directly, the pain and uncertainty will only accumulate, creating a vicious cycle of resentment. The conversation can bring hidden feelings to the surface, allowing everyone involved to express their perspectives. It may be that, for Matteo and Mia, the situation has an explanation that Oliver has not yet understood. This exchange of ideas can help dissipate the cloud of distrust that has settled between them. By listening to what the others have to say, Oliver may realize that the betrayal was not intentional or that there were factors he didn't know about. Furthermore, by opening up to communication, Oliver also gives himself the chance to express his pain. It is in this space of dialogue that he can voice what he feels, showing Matteo and Mia how their actions have affected him. This vulnerability can be a significant step toward healing, both for him and for the others. Often, honesty is the first step in resolving conflicts and rebuilding trust. Finally, it's important for Oliver to remember that communication is not a one-way street. Listening is just as crucial as speaking. He must be prepared to hear Matteo and Mia's explanations and feelings, even if it's difficult. This kind of dialogue can not only clarify the situation, but also open doors to a deeper understanding between everyone. Thus, confronting and communicating may be the hardest path, but also the most necessary. Through this process, Oliver may find a way to reconciliation, or at the very least, a closure that allows him to move forward. The pain Oliver feels after discovering the betrayal is intense and multifaceted. It's as if a hole has opened in his chest, and each memory of moments shared with Matteo and Mia becomes a constant reminder of the pain of betrayal. In the quietest hours, he finds himself struggling against the urge to relive every detail, every laugh that now seems hollow. It's a painful process, but a necessary one, for him to understand the depth of his emotions. The journey through pain leads Oliver to confront not only the betrayal, but also his expectations about friendship and love. He finds himself questioning whether he truly knew Matteo and Mia, or if perhaps there was always a part of them that remained hidden. This process of self-reflection is crucial as it helps him recognize that the pain is not just about the loss, but also about the shattering of an ideal he held about his relationships. The issue of forgiveness begins to emerge in his mind, and this brings a new dilemma. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting or minimizing the pain he feels, but rather freeing himself from the weight that resentment carries. Oliver realizes that, to move forward, he needs to make peace not only with Matteo and Mia, but also with himself. Forgiveness is an act of self-love, an acknowledgement that he doesn't deserve to carry this burden forever. Meanwhile, the pain doesn't disappear instantly. Oliver goes through phases, from anger to deep sadness, and each of these is valid. He learns that forgiveness is a continuous process, one that may take time and require patience. Sometimes he feels ready to forgive, and at other times, the pain still feels too fresh. It's important that he allows himself to feel all of this without rushing to reach a solution. In the end, Oliver discovers that dealing with pain and forgiveness is a journey of self-discovery. He learns that true freedom comes from accepting his feelings and allowing himself to feel without judgment. This acceptance not only helps him heal his wounds, but also prepares him to rebuild his relationships, whether with Matteo, Mia, or even with himself. When the truth about Matteo and Mia's betrayal came to light, it wasn't just Oliver who felt the impact. The wider social circle, which often gathered for parties, lunches, and casual get-togethers, was shaken by this revelation. Mutual friends began to feel divided, as if they were in an emotional battlefield. Each of them had their own perspective on what had happened, and consequently, their own loyalties were tested. The environment that was once relaxed and carefree was now filled with tension and discomfort. With the confusion in Oliver's mind, he realized that the betrayal affected not only his feelings, but also the atmosphere of the group. Conversations that once flowed naturally among friends were now surrounded by furtive glances and awkward silences. The laughter that used to echo during gatherings had been replaced by a palpable nervousness. He wondered if he would ever be able to have the same relationship with his friends again, or if the shadow of betrayal would linger over them like an unwanted specter. Interactions among friends became an emotional minefield. Those who sided with Oliver felt a certain discomfort when meeting with Matteo and Mia, while others, trying to remain neutral, became targets of criticism. The group, which once served as a support network, began to fragment. Conversations about future plans and group events were replaced by discussions about loyalty and trust, leading to a climate of uncertainty about what to do next. Moreover, new relationships emerged from this situation. Some friends, who were once mere acquaintances, began to rally around Oliver, forming a new support nucleus. This transformation highlighted the complexity of human relationships, how betrayal can lead to both ruptures and new connections. It was as if the situation had opened doors for dialogues that didn't exist before, forcing everyone to reevaluate their own loyalties and the dynamics they had with others. The revelation of the betrayal also made it clear that friendship and trust are vulnerable. How each person dealt with the situation revealed much about their personalities and priorities. While some friends distanced themselves, others became closer to Oliver, showing that even in the midst of pain, new possibilities can bloom. The group, though shaken, began to reconfigure itself, and Oliver realized that perhaps this was an opportunity to build more authentic relationships, even if it meant leaving some friends behind. And so, Oliver found himself in a labyrinth of emotions. The pain of betrayal turned into a quest for answers. After all, what happened to that friendship that seemed bulletproof? He wonders, how well do we really know the people we love? When confronting Matteo and Mia, Oliver realizes that his emotions are not just about betrayal, but also about loyalty and trust. As the words are spoken, the tension in the air is palpable. What does Matteo really feel for Mia, and will their friendship withstand this storm? As the truth comes to light, Oliver faces difficult choices. He can either move on or try to rebuild ties that once seemed indestructible. And you, what would you do in Oliver's place? Would you trust those who hurt you again, or would you follow your own path? These questions may be universal, but the answers are deeply personal. If you've been through something like this, share your story in the comments. Think about the people in your life. Is there someone who deserves a second chance, or is it time to cut ties? Remember, life is a constant learning journey, and every choice we make shapes us. Take a moment and don't forget to click on the video appearing on your screen now. In my opinion, it's one of the best stories I've ever told, the most emotional one. And if you liked what you just heard, you'll definitely love this other story too. So, subscribe to the channel, click on the video on your screen now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.